Hey, what's up, y'all? Um, I wanted to make, I guess, a different style of video than usual. You might hear Ken crying in the background. He's okay. He's just on punishment. He's been acting up. No. Anyways, a slightly different style of video, I guess. But anytime I get questions like DMs, and I get certain questions about whatever topics are going on in the industry, a lot of times I don't like to answer it because I want to answer it on the podcast, right? But the issue with that is once I get on the podcast, I don't prepare for the podcast. I like for the podcast to flow naturally. So I don't really write down any topics to cover. And then when I start talking to my boys, I just we just kind of freestyle it. So a lot of times I may forget to cover certain topics. And if I do cover certain topics, what's gonna happen is when once the convo starts flowing, I might change the subject before I even, dive deep into the question, or the question is just lead somewhere else, or I also want to give the other guests a chance to speak, right? So I don't want to be sitting there talking forever. I already feel like I talk way too much on the podcast. So the last thing I want to do is talk even more. So yeah, so I decided that if I get certain questions that I like and I want to dive deep into it, I may do like a solo kind of video doing that. So that's what I'm doing. And the topic I've been getting questions about is Bob Chick versus Nick Walker. Right. So it first started, I believe, on Bob's podcast when he mentioned Nick. Actually, let me pull up some stuff so you're not just staring at me. I think it's gonna get boring if y'all just staring at me for 10 minutes. Should I pull up? What page would this be on? Probably every page. Buys and tries. Let's see this up with that. Yeah, I have some here. I got a bunch of shit, of course. Oh, let me share the screen. Been doing a podcast for a minute and I'm still horrible, horrible host. Okay. Who would have thought that after the Arnold Classic, the biggest news in bodybuilding um, would be Bob Chick versus Nick Walker, right? I saw that coming. Well, this is the rebuttal, but anyways, y'all know what Bob said. Bob said that Nick will never win a Miss Olympia, which is a fair opinion. I mean, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. I mean, there's a lot of people who will never win the Olympia, right? Obviously, Bob never won it. We have some of the greatest of all time, the Flexes and the Kevins and all these guys, Kais, that never won Olympia. So, I mean, it sounds like an insult, but it's not really. It doesn't really. It's not really an insult because who the fuck? I mean, 0.00001% of people win the Olympia, right? So it's not much of an insult, but is it really necessary to say that, right? Because you could literally say that about literally every bodybuilder in the world besides, right? Besides three. I think there's three active guys who've won. So you can literally say that about every single bodybuilder competing, right? If you wanted to. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean Nick won't win Olympia, but that's your opinion. And I think anybody who has a platform is entitled to their opinion. Sometimes, though, the way you say it, though, is the whole thing, right? Because you can just give an opinion, like on our podcast, right? Finish podcast. We give our opinions pretty straightforward, and at least we try to do a good job. Well, let me speak for myself. I try to do a good job of not being an asshole. I do joke, so I will say that I'm very sarcastic and I joke a lot. And some of my jokes may be offensive to some people, but I think it's clear to see it's all in good faith when I make jokes. And if it's not, we could always have a conversation about it, and I could always apologize if I offend anybody. Um, but which I have in the past. But it's one of those things. Is we just give an opinion, try to be respectful, and if we crack jokes, sometimes at least for sometimes my jokes get out of hand, but I don't think most people won't take it seriously because they know I'm not being serious, and I'm not like I don't work for I'm not even a pro, but I don't work for the IFBB in any capacity or affiliated anyway. So um, I think it's a little different when you do. Um, I know Bob is saying now that he's not the athlete's rep, even though for the longest everybody else been saying that like it's not a real job, but he's been adamant that he is the athlete's rep, which is kind of strange that it kind of flipped, right? Everybody else saying, is he even athlete's rep? And he's saying, yeah, I'm a Fuad. Him and Fuad got into a little bit because of that. Fuad is like, is he the athlete's rep? And then he's like, let me tell you something, son. I'm the athlete's rep. I bet. And now it's like he's tired of hearing it. Now he's not the athlete's rep. So can't win. Then, he is, he isn't. Who knows, right? Anyways, let me not. I'm not here to like talk negatively about Bob. I think Bob is hands down the best MC that this sport has by far. I don't even think it's close. I know David Bay did the Arnold, but I don't think it was close. I think Sid Faruqi would be the next. I won't say the next best thing. I think Sid Faruqi is the only one that can match Bob as far as emceeing the show. Right, I think that's the only person. He got the voice, he got the charisma. Sid is the only one that I would put in that category. Everybody else is a far cry from Bob. So Bob has all the respect from everybody from that. Even people who don't get along with Bob will admit that Bob is the best in the business at what he does. Okay, but yeah, back to the topic. The way he said it and some of the things he said afterwards, it started to seem like he was demeaning Nick a little bit, which is where it becomes a little personal. Because just speaking about physiques is one thing, but the tone in which you say it and how you say it, I did see. Well, I guess I didn't watch the podcast, but I did see full length clips, and he did sound a bit condescending. I wish I could play it just so you kind of get the vibe. But I mean, you can go watch it on Bob Chick's Voice of Bodybuilding channel, and yeah, I think it's perfectly normal for Nick to be. I don't think he was super triggered. I don't think he was triggered at all. But for him to take some offense to it, I think is perfectly fine, right? I know people say, "Well, grow some balls, stop being offended," but it's like, no, if somebody speaks to you in a way that's condescending, of course you're going to be offended. I mean, it's human nature, right? Everybody would be, So I get it. And then he responded, and then once again, if you have the right to comment on athletes have a right to comment right back. And then Nick said what he said. I mean, you could tell he was a bit agitated, but at the same time, I mean, it didn't come off like he was taking it super personal, like he was legit angry, more so like irritated. And he said Bob who, which is, like I said, serious, but still kind of, still kind of in, I don't think it got beyond the point of just a back and forth, right? I think people nowadays have a different idea of what beef means or what beef is, right? And listen, if you're not willing to punch somebody in the face when you see them, that's not beef. So when I say this is not beef, I don't mean that they don't mean what they say. I think they do mean what they say. But it's just friendly banter. If they saw each other in person, I promise you, they would probably shake hands still, right? I promise you, they're not going to see each other and start cursing each other out, or definitely won't get physical. But let's say that they're not going to see each other and like mean mug each other and do all it. I just don't see that happening. I don't think it's that deep. I think they're both serious, but I don't think they're taking it like way too far. I think it's still just banter, and they both have the right to respond to each other, Nick did make a t-shirt, which I think makes it more fun, honestly, because you take something that's going on and you capitalize on it. That's how you do it. That's really how you go about it. So instead of taking it, you know, super personal, super serious, you make fun of it. I think this is literally the best way you can handle this. Oh, look, okay, nice, Bob Chick. Okay, this is what I like to see. Perfect. So what I assumed is correct. Bob Chick, nice. You got one of these in 2X, so good. So even though they, like I said, even though they're going back and forth, it's still in good faith. Like if Bob really was offended by this, he wouldn't comment on a post. He wouldn't. If he was really like butthurt about this, he wouldn't comment. So as you can see, they're you know they're not like doing it to hype up the Olympia, and I don't think they're in cahoots or anything like that. But it's still there's a level of friendliness or camaraderie in this still, which is perfect. That any kind of rivalry or industry beef, I think this is as far as it needs to go. Banter. It can get a little bit offensive here and there. That's cool. I guess shit. I'm talking about the video right now. I've never even done a fucking solo video, and I'm doing it right now. Because it does create good storylines, even though Bob isn't competing. But you know what I mean. So I think this is great for the sport. I think it gives us something to talk about. I think listen, bodybuilding is not like the NBA. There's not 82 fucking shows. Well, shit, they might be actually. Never mind. That's not the point. It's not like the NBA. There's fucking 5 games on every night. I check, right. This is gonna be a little more spaced out. We gotta wait some weeks. And we gotta wait some weeks, even a month or so. Sometimes between shows. So meanwhile, we need shit to talk about, shit to keep us in the loop, and this helps. So good job to both of them for not taking it too seriously and giving us some shit to talk about, And like I said, I'm sure when they see each other at the Olympia, they're gonna shake hands, nod heads, and if Bob is still gonna do the press conference thing, which I'm pretty sure he is, that'll be something that, cool to bring up because Bob loves to instigate that press conference, which is part of his job to get people, talking. This is perfect. They get to go back and forth. Nick is going to be tired and probably grumpy, which will make it even more entertaining because Nick doesn't hold back as it is. He definitely ain't going to hold back when he's fucking 2 days out, 3 days out. So it's going to make it more fun. And then he's going to be, vintage Nick Walker. So that's going to make for a fun press conference. Finally, because the press conference has been caca. It's been caca. So that'll throw something in there. But yeah, let's not take it too seriously. I think it's all fun, and they both have the right to have opinions about one another. Bob, athlete rep or not, still has the right to an opinion. And I'm sure he's seeing now, and he's going to continue to learn that if your opinion comes off aggressive, people are going to get offended, right? Bodybuilders are sensitive people, right? I'm not saying Nick is being sensitive in this situation, but let's be real. Bodybuilders are very sensitive individuals. It is what it is, myself included, I'm probably on the lesser sensitive side, but listen, especially if I'm dieting, I could be fucking sensitive. I could be sensitive as shit. So it is what it is. It's part of the game. We take some hormones and we get sensitive. So in a sport like this, yeah, Bob is gonna see that if you have really strong opinions and you throw extra sauce on it, or if you come off a certain way, people are gonna come at you and they're gonna come at you hard. And they might offend you back. So it goes both ways. If you're willing to offend people, you got to be willing to take some offensive content as well. But I think Jordan Peterson said it the best. In order to have any intellectual conversation, you have to be willing to offend somebody. Right? Once you open your mouth, anything you say can and will offend somebody, no matter what it is. You know, some people are offended by my accent. Some people are offended by the way my fucking lip moves up on the right side when I talk. Literally, just it is what it is, right? People are people are going to be offended. You can't do nothing about it. You still should be yourself. You still should have opinion, but understand people can and will be offended, and they have the right to say whatever they want back to you. So, shit, this video went a little longer than I thought it would, but let me know if you like this style of video. If you hate it, then I won't do it again. If you love it, I'll do a lot more of it. If you kind of like it, I'll do a little bit more of it. How about that? Well, anyways, it's super late at night right now. I got to get my meal in and go to bed. I got to walk. Kane, you've been acting up. You've hit that age, I guess. But I'm going to nip it in the bud. I'm going to get him right in line, Dude, my parents taught me well. So I got to teach my son. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I guess I don't really do outros, so I'm not going to start now. But I guess I'll see y'all next time.